show everybody. Oh, wait. Look how I shrunk down. Look at there. I'll fix myself. Hold on. Why am I out of... And I'm... Frame. Focus. Focus and... Focus. Hello. I'm going to have to do the settings again. Look how outlined I am. Look at the... That's fun. Look how fun that is. I'm all bubbly. It must be the circuitry. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'll be up and running in a second. I raced in the door and started the show, and you know that usually works out exactly this way. You know what I'm saying? So hold on. Yep, I have assumed pure digital form. That's right. I have literally fallen into becoming my namesake. Hold on one second, because I just was trying to fix the. Let's see. Maybe this is the easiest way to do it. Fix this in here. There we go. Set it on there. I'm gonna, there we go. Okay. Made me gigantic now. That's no good. Now I gotta move myself back in. Give me a second. Starting up. I'm doing it. It made me ginormous. I'm in here somewhere, I swear to God. Where am I? There I am. I'm in here somewhere. There's some spiggly spots. There I am. Where have I gone? Where did I go? Hold on, I have to reframe the, let's see, go back up into here. Set this, I set it far too big, I think. There we go, okay. And then, where'd I go? Oh, I'm way over here now. Yeah, for some reason, it's the top of my head. Look how big I am. That's not proper. Let me fix that. There you go. Look, it's the top of my head. I'll be there in a second. I'm like ghosting by like a cartoon character. This is fun. Hold on. Moving myself up. Almost there. Still a little freckly with the green screen. Makes my hair look wet, which is good, you know. Yeah, I look kind of Jerry Curlish. This lighting. Because it's making a little, like, it's taking my green screen cutout thing and making it a little flecky. So it's doing the same thing to my hair, which is, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a look. I think so. I mean, come on. Let's see, and then yeah, okay, all right, it's still there. I gotta get rid of this line though, and I'll see if I can do that. Oh, maybe, just maybe, I can. Maybe it's a filter thing. Hold on. Control. Oh, I know what it is. It's trying to take out. It's trying to remove the and there's a color correction, and there's chroma key. Maybe if I take this out. Nope, that won't work. This will work temporarily. There we go. And whoop, there it goes. Now I can slide over here, and then we're fine. Hi, how are you? I was just fixing something. I'm totally fine. By the way, check this shit out. Tonight's Town Hall with constituents in Florida 01 will begin soon. Now, in the beginning of this, welcome. You're watching HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. It's a roadshow version. They forgot to turn off the mics while they were setting up. Listen, you'll be able to hear some of it at some point. I think they. If the audio is set up properly, that's always the curious part. This is the point where they turned it off, I think. Yeah, here they are. Listen.
All right, Jen, you can go ahead and do the outbound.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just sending it right to your computer.
Yep.
Yep, and I forgot. Joel set up my, he set up this thing on my computer where it auto broadcasts so he doesn't miss any of that, you know, sweet South Miami Never mind. Anyways, crap. So, yeah, we'll jump ahead because they don't really say much. I recorded it. It's a kind of a big jump though, because I think, you know how they always show Matt Gaetz on the floor of the House or at these, you know, I mean, there's a little bit of a chink in the armor with the when he and MTG have gone out and done these events together, and there's a small crowd and it's a little pitiful, but most of the time there's this idea that they are kind of almost at this point bigger than life. We're not going to do all this because I don't think it's going to be that interesting and he's kind of gross, but I want you to take a look at, let's scroll through, there we go. Here's the real Matt Gaetz, live from a high school AV office. Did they just jump straight from here? Wait. Yep, they do. And I don't know why my audio, like, I think I can, oh, I couldn't hear him all of a sudden. I want to make sure I can hear. Did they have the audio? Is their audio on or off? Can you guys hear it? Nope. Please tell me they forgot his audio was on. Hold on, I'm gonna make sure. Monitors on, got it. Okay, cool. Just make sure Safari's running in there. Yeah, it could just be that they screwed it up. That's funny for me. Hold on.
That there
Oh yeah.
is any
See, I always think it's me, and it was just they turned off his audio because he had left it on, and then somebody forgot to. I'm Matt Gaetz, and I've been fondling myself, and I wanted to talk to you a couple days because I think a timeshare would be really great. So I'm gonna keep poking you, tell you something expansive, and then I'm gonna poke you with this other hand. Let me take a look over here at what my script is, because I want to get this right. I mean, right out of the gate, I want to tell you a story. Now, listen here. This is one of the things you got to.
Congressional office in Washington D.C. We want to give you the best information about.
And best audio quality. All right, I don't even have a staff. I definitely have audio issues on occasion, but I don't have people running. Now, like every aspect of this, I would like to say for the record, can we go straight up room rater on this for a minute? Can we room rate this? I love that the paneling doesn't get close to the floor so that flooding won't cause it to curl. I love that there's a big blank white space behind him. In theory, that might have been a whiteboard, you know, for getting busy, but that is either so overblown or it's a window that's open. I don't think so. I think he's below ground. And then I would love to see what this book is over here on the corner, but I don't think we're going to. He's drinking Aquafina. He's got all of the outlets are way up off the ground. So I'm going with basement office. His dad's furniture from his dad's old office. You can hear me, but the volume's kind of low. Okay, I will fix that as best I can. Let me go in here, filters, and I'll add, sometimes I have to add a gain to this just to make sure you guys can hear me. I'll like jock it up a little bit. Should be a little better. Apologies if it's a little wonky. Yeah, there's he's jowling out a little bit. He's under some stress. I'm pretty sure we're rocking the same laptop, but I'm sure he'll attack big tech at some point. Let's go.
What's going on in the House of Representatives and throughout the country, but there is so much right now that I need to give you an update on. From Title 42 at the border, a new piece of legislation that just this past week came out of the House of Representatives on domestic extremism that I think is really going to target a lot of Northwest Floridians.
Yeah, Tallahassee is full of lunatic fringe Republicans who are like armed to the teeth. All right, and there's a bit low too. Okay, let me bring it up a little bit. Let me see if.
Especially the military. I want to get to that. Economic
Oh, yeah.
concerns, the latest in Ukraine, a massive surrender of
Right.
U.S. sovereignty to the World Health Organization.
Why is,
The
hold on.
decision the Biden administration is making there.
Hold on one
Star
second.
3 if you want to talk about
I have to say, I don't know why the, let me fix this real quick too, because I think there's something, yeah, okay. It seems like there's a lot of extra noise in there. I think that's just the sound of the air conditioning unit, because it is hot back here. So hopefully that's okay. And then I will bring up the gain on Matt. Hold on Matt Gaetz's nonsense in just a moment. Let's try this and see if this is painfully loud.
Or any other matter. But first, of course, we start in Uvalde, Texas, where a tragic event has resulted in a senseless loss of life and inspired, seems, by pure evil. And as we're going through that devastation and just wish.
By the way, I don't know that he covered Buffalo the same way, just for the record.
That there was any extension of our empathy or love to the people affected by this that would give.
Yeah, but we're not going to do anything.
Them any sense of comfort in an unimaginably.
Yes, unless that sense of comfort has to do with random assholes who shouldn't have guns being able to have access to them.
Difficult time. Of course, we see already today United States Senator Chris Murphy taking to the floor of the United States Senate to call for more gun control. And while
like I totally love to pretend to be pro-life, you got to be able, I mean, it's a violation of the Constitution if you don't have a fully automatic abortion machine that you can put in the back of your truck.
There is nothing that we wouldn't give of our hearts.
But I'm definitely not going to give up my 60-round magazines.
Of our care and comfort to those who are in pain now. It is my belief as the congressman for Northwest Florida that gun control is not an effective tool to stop these school shootings.
Yeah, because we've tried it so many times and it never. I'm sorry. What, the assault weapons ban was effective and lowered the number of people killed? Oh, huh.
I wish it were.
Well, wishing and hoping won't get you nothing.
I wish there were anything that would be a magic answer to some.
It's not a magic answer. There is no magic answer to crazy, but you can limit the outlets by which crazy can carry out their awful
of such depravity. But the gun control legislation that was being called for on the floor of the Senate right now by Senator Chris Murphy.
Think of it this way. Think of it as being a contraceptive against mass shootings.
Background checks, waiting periods. There's no evidence. We don't even know if this particular shooter would have passed a background check. Increasingly, more and more, there are people who would pass background checks that then end up committing these acts of violence. But I also know.
Yes, most of these horrible acts are carried out by law-abiding gun owners because they snap. John Wayne Gacy legally owned rope. Your point?
This. I remember from the Parkland shooting in Florida that usually there's somebody who said something, who's observed bad behavior, who's made a report. In the case of the Parkland shooter, you had a report that was made to the FBI, and the FBI sat on that. You also had.
Because of Republican pressure to not go after people just because they have access to guns and they're threatening. Because there's some sort of, like, conspiracy theory that these guys constantly run with it. This is going to be an excuse to round people up.
Circumstances in Buffalo where there were prior law enforcement encounters with this particular shooter. Again.
Right. I don't see any of you assholes passing a law that say they have to respond. I mean, it's real fucking easy. If you say that there's too much wiggle room in the law and that these guys, cross the threshold and nobody did anything because the threshold was was not distinct. It had you had optional behavior, and you're like, the problem is that when somebody crosses this line, they should not be allowed to have a gun. I agree. So gun control on people who cross that line.
You're joining me, Congressman Matt Gaetz, on our town hall meeting over the phone, online. Hit *3 with any thoughts. But I want to get your perspective on this issue because we are certain to now encounter it when we return to Washington. If you believe gun control is an effective strategy,
nobody on his town hall is going to be for gun control. That doesn't mean his constituents aren't for gun control. It's just, this is a self-selecting crowd. Who the fuck is going to watch this if you aren't all in on Matt Gaetz? Are you kidding me? No one is watching this.
Strategy to prevent school shootings.
There's some Q people who like him and MTG who are watching. I doubt they're even in the fucking state.
Press 1.
That was quality. Press 3 for English. Press 4, habla español.
Or more about it. Before giving an answer, you can press 3 to lock that. We'll get to those responses. But before we do that, I'm going to go to Brian in Gulf Breeze. Brian, thanks so much for joining us on the town.
Yeah, Brian wants to know why you're scratching yourself like you need a fix.
Meeting, what's your perspective?
Yeah, his audio is doing a weird thing too. I'm hearing it.
Yes, sir. Regarding the World Health Organization treaty or
I was watching a video, okay? And they doing this thing where we're giving away our sovereignty as a country, and the dude, China, is going to be running our thing. I saw it on Glenn Beck.
so-called treaty. The World Health Organization is a non-governmental organization. If I didn't fail civics class, and I don't think I did, how can the United States enter a treaty with an entity that is not a sovereign state?
The entity was created by a treaty among nations. And part of the treaty would be the creation of a World Health Organization. Also, the regulations that we talk about as members of the World Health Organization are not part of a treaty process.
Oh, it's totally illegal. It's totally wrong. It is a...
Dude, bro, it's so, like, not a... It's, look. It's a thing.
And...
Oh, there goes the audio. That's classy. Thanks, guys. Quality stuff. What's going on with your quality crap? Okay, let me see if it...
A review of its legality for the reason you just stated. But my concern, and I think this is what the American people need to wake up to, the agreement, whatever you call it, compact, treaty, with the World Health Organization.
Yeah, it matters. It's not a treaty. And legally, there are different definitions in these things. So if you say, well, if you want to call it a treaty, call it a treaty. And then when you call it that, you're like, well, you can't have a treaty like that. Like, fucking hell. Yeah, he thinks the WHO is totally illegal. Because it's a dipshit.
Is not about the coronavirus pandemic. It is about giving a foreign entity, not
the ability to make the frogs gay.
A state actor, control over Americans.
Bullshit.
Or whatever they think is the next pandemic. What if they say gun violence is the next pandemic?
Yeah, this is a talking point we heard from Alex Jones, and who else was it? We had like 3 of these in a fucking row.
It's more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's not just the World Health Organization having power. It's also about giving more power to the federal government and away from the people.
Yes.
The people.
Well, not even the federal government. Not even a foreign government. As you point out, a globalist bureaucratic entity that would somehow then have powers to restrict rights,
Gibberish.
liberties, and freedoms of Americans.
Not at all.
It is what, like, literally the type of stuff we...
But dude, it's literally like it's from outer space. Like it's literally like we've gone through the looking glass. Like literally.
We fought wars against a king abroad to preserve our liberty. Now they're expecting us to surrender our sovereignty to the World Health Organization.
No, no one is expecting that.
But it is not about health. It is about control.
Yes, control of disease.
It's going to be about control over guns. What if they say climate change is the next pandemic? Are we going to surrender our energy policy to some entity overseas? So it's one of the...
Well, the World Health Organization is not an answering body on climate change, nor are they on gun violence. If they were, the World Health Organization would be the arm that would stop all wars. Because I don't know if you know this, but most of the gun violence, no matter how bad it seems at any given time in American history or anywhere else, most of the gun violence on Earth happens in war zones.
really important
Sure,
reasons.
they already have.
Well,
Yeah, we're not even America anymore, bro. We're totally, you're like, I mean, you look like you're in a basement in China.
well, they've tried.
To keep us from dying from the next pandemic,
The World Health Organization.
to push back on China when China won't post information when we know that there's a pandemic breaking out there.
And the power to dramatically impact American life. Brian, I'll give you the last word. What you've researched that you think Northwest Floridians
What you've researched. I've done my own research.
need to know about this.
Basically, this is just the next doggone thing. And we as citizens,
Well, that answers it for me. Sorry, is it the audio's being weird? It's weird for me at times. Let me see if I can do something about that. Trying to fix the thing. Oh, yeah. Okay, go back to here. That goes to the primary loop back audio. Okay, click OK. Go back to here. Try this thing. Keep that open. Go back to this guy. Go into here. Turn it off and then back on. I think part of it might be the volume in this particular thing. Might be that it's too hot. I don't know why the audio is being internally.
need to stand up. We need to call our representatives, all of them.
He is your representative, dum dum. You don't get to have another one. Sorry, what? Today a family member said to me, in response to my horror at the shooting news, yeah, just in time for the primaries. Wonder how much these people have been paid to shoot people heading into the primaries. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, of course it's Democrats because they want gun control laws. That's been the false flag idea all along. Because for some reason, they don't believe in human autonomy or responsibility.
Scott and Rubio and Mr. Biden, as dilapidated as he may be, we need to call all of them. We need to let our opinions be known. Because if we're sitting here quiet, nothing happens.
Amen. Well, hey, thanks so much for participating.
Yeah, bro, so good. You're not in my district, are you? Nope. I'm calling you from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thanks. Okay.
Thank you
I'm in a sweat lodge. I took it from some people.
for giving me your feedback, and thanks for being well informed. That is the best resilience for a strong citizenry. If you're just joining us, this is
Captain Ivermectin and the horse paste squad.
Congressman Matt Gaetz. You're participating in our live telephone town hall meeting. We're talking about the World Health Organization, and we were before that talking about really the push.
I swear to God, this looks like he's doing he's been drummed out of office and he's doing this show from a bunker.
For gun control that we were seeing today on the floor of the United States Senate. And in response to our poll, 17% of you believe that gun control would be an effective strategy preventing school shootings. 75% of you do not.
Yeah, which is a totally real poll. It's not self-selecting out for people. Like, the first fucking call is we've surrendered our sovereignty to the WHO. There's no fucking way that the first caller they take is a guy who's got a bunker and thinks the WHO, the UN, George Soros, and Anthony Weiner have jackbooted thugs. They're going to come take over the country for China. And of course, the people who are on this call think 75%. You're not talking to anybody with a half a fucking brain. They wouldn't be on this call.
8% unsure. So overwhelmingly, the group does not believe that gun control is going to be an effective strategy when dealing with these tragic events.
The group? How many people? How many people? You know, I'm a stickler about percentages. I'm going with there's 9 people on this call. 4 of them are staff members.
And that doesn't make them any less tragic. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't be doing everything possible not to create another generation of sociopaths that bring this kind of just hate and evil into any community.
Okay, so one of the first things you would do is not accuse your fellow Americans, for example, of being, monsters and killers and every woman in the country who's had an abortion a murderer and those kind of things, because that would sort of go into that zone of unforgivable offenses where a sociopathic kid would grow up with these ideas that there are some people that need to be wiped out. You know what I mean? No, we're not doing that.
We had another point on Second Amendment and gun rights. Scott from Pensacola, go right ahead, and then we'll get back to the WHO.
Why are you... all right. Why does that guy's talking point get to be the whole show? By the way, we're going to skip this in a minute. I just discovered this as I was coming on the air.
Yeah. Well, you had this shooting out in Texas, at the high school. And I'm all for open carry, and that state is open carry. But,
yeah, it was great. Yeah, open carry in an elementary school. Yeah, it would have been great. The only thing that would have made this thing better is crossfire.
Yeah, I just, the question before about...
By the way, we'll be checking in with some of the stories about, the primaries that are happening today, as we go along. Hold on, let me open up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to open up a page. Yep. Whop, whop. Hold on one second. Can I just show you guys this? Just because it's sweet and awesome. Hold on. Herschel Walker has let's see, 69%, 100% in. He's at 69%. Herschel Walker won. There's nobody with any name recognition running anywhere else, but this is. Hold on. Open up the Georgia. There you go. Obviously Warnock, Polskrell, Zinga-Kosser. Where was it? It was just a second ago. Yeah, there we go. This is so good. Hold on one second. I have to open this page. 1 second. I think I have to drag this over here and put it in that window, and then you can see it. There you go. Yeah. Kemp will defeat Trump-backed Purdue in Georgia's GOP gubernatorial primary. That is, do you know how hard he went after Kemp? You know how, we all have watched this stuff as it's gone along. They've been grinding on Kemp and Raffensperger. And now they have to root for Stacey Abrams. Because Trump does. Trump wants him to lose to Stacey Abrams now. Because, A, it's not a nationwide office. It's a governorship, so he doesn't really have to care. And he already thinks the guy is corrupt. So, this is just gorgeous. He's going to be so pissed. Womp womp. All right, let's, I don't know if we can go on with, how much.
The WHO and everything, you get control.
The WHO.
we need to open carry in as many states as we possibly can.
Yeah, we need kids in elementary school should be fucking packing. Teachers need a gun in their desk. That's what we need. It's a fucking elementary school, asshole. It's not a bar crawl.
For control in our pockets, and for the next crazy that comes out and starts shooting out people. So I was just wondering if we could ever get an open carry like these other states.
It's Texas. I want to mention the charity, the Brady Campaign, and Sandy Hook Promise. I support them. That's great, Joe. Joe LaFaro, I gave a super chat and said, I hope this is all right. But I want to mention the charities, the Brady Campaign and Sandy Hook Promise, that you support. Thanks so much. Absolutely, Joe.
Like Texas and I think Alabama.
Yeah, Scott.
It just happened in a state with open carry, you dizzy fuck. Like, this is just goofy at this point. We're not talking about California right now. We're talking about Texas, a place that prides itself on open carry.
I was the sponsor of the bill to do open carry in the state of Florida in the Florida legislature. We got that bill passed out of the House of Representatives. Unfortunately, even not all the Republicans in...
It's a tourism state. They don't want fucking, like, open guns around fucking Disney World and beaches and fucking Miami and Key West. Like, that macho bullshit flies in Texas and Arizona and Nevada and New Mexico because everybody thinks they're in the Old West. It's fucking Florida, dummy. It's a retirement community. That's what we need. Bunch of octogenarians armed to the teeth with fuzzy vision just going, there's somebody over there. Settle down. It's me. You know.
The Florida Senate would support open carry, so we didn't get it passed. I believe that these things are best done at the state level because I don't want Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer negotiating my Second Amendment rights. Frankly, they're constitutional rights, and they're not really subject to the government's restriction.
Yeah, they are. You can't have a fucking cannon without special permission. You have to have a collector's license to have automatic weapons and stuff. Like, there's all kinds of limitations, dum-dum. And if you can't hit what you're shooting at in 6 shots or less, I don't want you firing a gun down, like in a suburb, much less an apartment building.
In my view, but I'm a big believer.
Yes. Let's see. Now that we have 35,000 subscribers, we should set up a HALCon. I'm for it. I think it's a genius idea.
Carry. And, I think that this is what a lot of gun owners get wrong. We're always so concerned about what the government's going to do to take our rights away. We don't do everything to vindicate our rights. And I think an open carry push along with concealed carry reciprocity. If another state has concealed carry, if you're driving from Pensacola to Mobile, if you're driving, from Crestview to Dothan, Alabama, do you really need a different license structure? What's your perspective on?
Yes, because if you don't, that's a federal thing. This asshole just talked to us about how he wants the states to handle it. And then he's saying we need a federal rule to override the fact that you go from one state to the other and they can't have their rights. What the fuck? Just goofy. Sorry, I'm eating popcorn. Spitting mad.
I'll give you the last word.
I think that you should be able to just go right on through to the state, for sure.
Well, then, that would be Nancy Pelosi regulating your Second Amendment rights, fucko.
I'm with you on that.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for giving...
Yeah, cops couldn't stop him going into the school, even with a gun.
Your perspective, I appreciate it. This is Congressman Matt Gaetz. We've now got thousands of folks participating in our telephone town hall meeting.
Yeah, totally believe that.
*3 if you want to give me your perspective on one of the matters that we're discussing, or really any other matter that...
Yeah, like, what... does Marjorie Taylor Greene have a good scissor lock?
You've got your mind on. One of the urgent reasons I wanted to have this...
He's looking at us. Now I'm creeped out. I was okay when he was Ben Shapiroing it.
Report for all of you. the Biden administration doing everything possible to give authority to the World Health Organization under a globalist agreement to
Jews.
deem things pandemics, and then to have
No. No, a tornado is not, there's not a pandemic of fucking tornadoes, dum-dum. You idiot.
Q snatch.
Right. So, hold on.
control measures put in place over the American people. If you support the Biden agreement with the World Health Organization, I want you to press 1 now on your telephone.
And you'll get a shock in your genital cuff.
If you oppose that Biden agreement with the World Health Organization, press 2. If
Ding, 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 ding. Yes. If you have shit for brains, push number 2.
you're unsure or need more information, press 3.
And if you want me to stop fondling my right breast, barf, fucking barf, press, just hang up now.
We're going to get to
Why is he doing that? I don't understand.
that in just a moment. We have a question from Kathleen in the meantime. Kathleen, go right ahead.
Hi, Kathleen. I'm just, if past is prologue, I have a lot of hope for Kathleen as a caller.
Hi, I am calling today as a Northwest Florida concerned mother. If you believe that gun reform is not going to be able to stop school shootings like this, which I think it will be a mixture of items. However, gun reform does need to happen. How do you think, if that was not done, how do you believe that we could stop a school shooting like this? We're mothers, we're tired, we're weeping.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. She's getting in there.
Well, here's what we've done in Florida, and
Here's what we did in Florida. I responded to the last shooting by trying to get more guns out there and more guns visible. And I also thought that, we should arm kids. I also thought that probably the limitation on ammo was a problem.
what I believe in. 1, stronger physical plants around these schools. In Northwest Florida in particular, we have a lot of open ramp schools. And so years ago after Parkland, we made massive investments in fencing, in walls.
Jesus Christ. His solution is put the kids in a jail.
In better door systems where really
Better door systems.
you don't leave the school as soft of a target as it is in some places. Second thing I
Bulletproof glass, what do you think?
think you need to do is ensure that teachers who are appropriately equipped and skilled are able to carry.
Yeah, because I got news for you, fucko. If my teacher, any of my teachers, had a gun, I would have known where it was and how to get it. No, there's no doubt in my fucking mind. And I was just a pain in the ass. I wasn't dangerous. The idea that you want more guns in a fucking elementary school, Jesus Christ. Why not bulletproof shields out of the doors? Why not make the doors bulletproof? Why not, give they have those folding, they're like briefcases that open up and turn into a bulletproof shield, everywhere, just like fire extinguishers all over the fucking place. And then, lockdowns that behind these bulletproof doors that isolate the person once they're in the building, but you don't have to have a fucking wall around the school your kids go to Sing Sing. It's not the kids' fucking fault.
think that right now, maintaining schools as gun-free zones leaves them vulnerable as
Jesus Christ.
soft targets. We got
Soft targets. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. My hair looks a little much today. It's partly the lighting, but and my being cut out, so it takes some of the frizzies out and makes it look a little Stephen
former
Piercy.
military that volunteer in our schools that are very capable of providing a force multiplier.
Okay, so I volunteer at my kids' elementary school as security. I've done it multiple times. There's a rotation of people, before COVID especially. My kid, because of his age, goes to a different school next year. And so I've got to learn their whole new setup, how they're going to do that, and I will do it again. But I'm not going to carry a fucking gun while I'm there and endanger everyone else. I'm there to absorb harm and deflect it physically with my presence. I'm not there to, like, hunker down behind the principal's desk and open fire. Good Lord.
And I think if we did that, we'd make these things less likely. Also, I think that you have to have, like, good learning policies that have the students a little more empathetic. Like,
What? What the fuck? What do you think these kids got shot because they were snotty or something?
I worry right now that we are, with masking and mandates, like, not allowing students to be able to see how their actions cause harm.
Fuck you. What? Now, honest, I'm amazed. What the living shit? This guy thinks that these kids bullied this, in this elementary school, bullied this 18-year-old into doing this? You don't think we have anti-bullying and psychologists? We've got more of that in schools now than we've ever had. The shit?
Or pain to others, and I think that just makes us all a little less human. But
what? It's, hey guys, guns don't kill people. You bullying people gets you killed. Especially if it's an 18-year-old and you're 11. Motherfucker.
You're my constituent, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, well, like, can't say any, I mean, I don't know how she hasn't thrown her phone across the fucking room.
Okay, so basically you're speaking about bullying at the end. Fences aren't going to stop anything. People can walk into my children's school right now. They're in a preschool. This is just, it's become an issue more for mental health, more for, and I can tell you as a white woman, it's very difficult to get psychiatric care in our area. And I'm a white, middle-income family. I can tell you
She's trying to appeal to him giving a shit. He's not going to.
that so many people are missing out on these things. Do you not believe that mental health care should play a part in this?
I do. I think that we work, very frequently, frankly, with a lot of veterans on access to care and having sufficient
Fucking using vets as a fucking shield.
provider
I'm talking
networks.
I'm talking about the general population.
Yeah, no, I think everybody. But I think in what I can tell you as the congressman for Northwest Florida, we see some of the highest acuity with people who have had prior military service, and that unlocks certain benefits that we typically try to align. But look.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with any of this shit. Nothing to do with Buffalo, nothing to do with this kid, nothing to do with the vast majority. Vets don't snap and kill people. They commit suicide more than anybody else. That's something you have to deal with, but it has nothing to fucking do with this. And honest to God, this is just him, like, this is stolen valor. This is just like, I help vets, therefore I'm as good as they are.
I appreciate you sharing your perspective. I know that 17% of the folks on the call think that we need more gun control.
Yeah, and you're outvoted, lady. Even if your ideas are good, it's, I believe in democracy in my district. On the national level, not so much.
That's just not a position I hold. But thanks for sharing it nonetheless.
I just hope you in our area. That would be great.
All right, thank you. Thank you for participating. See, not
My hair looks like Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Oh, that's good, because I'm doing Come Together tonight at the Jam. So I should probably wear a bandana. That's not a bad idea. I haven't worn a bandana in forever. Thinking, like it.
everyone agrees, but it was, at least on this call,
It was good conversation. I got to drop that I give a shit about vets, even though it didn't have anything to do with this, and sort of tacitly makes it like veterans are dangerous.
small minority, but even when you're in the minority, you have the right to share your perspective. On the World Health Organization, a whopping 5% of you
Oh, for fuck's sake.
support the Biden agreement with the World Health Organization.
They don't even know what it is.
88% of you oppose that agreement.
Which says what?
7%
What part of it?
are unsure and would require more information. Got an interesting perspective on global food supply from Jeannie in Pensacola. Jeannie, go right ahead with your question
Yeah, Jeannie. Shonda.
or comment.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, it's just something a lot of people didn't know about, that our world is going to be out of wheat in 10 weeks because of the Ukraine-Russian, civil war. What exactly is our government going to do? Because we've got an open border and we've got millions of people coming into our country.
No, we don't.
And I'm hardcore about American first. And you know that, Matt.
American first. I'm American first. Not America, the country. I'm
hardcore. And I want to know why aren't we growing our own weed? Why aren't we?
Fuck me. Yeah, when did Biden stop us from growing wheat in this country? I mean, honestly.
Supplying our own wheat in our own country. Why aren't we?
She's saying wheat and not weed, right?
Building back America like Trump had it.
Like Trump had it. Yeah. We were entering a recession in his final year in office. Even without COVID. But, I'm sorry. Do you think we need to pay the farmers $40 billion to grow things?
That's my concern. Back on that
Thanks, Foggy.
gun control thing real quick.
I think, why aren't we shooting weeds that are, like, if we don't get pesticides and fertilizer from Russia, why don't we just shoot weeds that are eating our wheat?
We have a mental health issue in our country, and my son is one of them that has mental health issues, and he's also ex-military. The mental health issue, I agree, it needs to be taken care of. But a lot of these guns that are on the streets and a lot of the shootings and deaths are done by people who are criminals. And they didn't. I just want all these moms and everybody to understand that it's mental health and criminals that are doing all these killings.
She's mixing up the shootings that involve 3 or more people that they call mass shootings now, that are like grudges and gang fights and blah blah blah, and a mass shooting like Buffalo and this school shooting. Ugh, God. Yeah, we have enough food for ourselves. Absolutely.
The same person's going to go into
Kid bought his rifles on his 18th birthday. Right, because you can.
the school and shoot, kill people. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I think that's an area of agreement. I think you agree with while you might disagree with our prior caller on gun control, it seems like there's broad agreement on the fact that the people that do this stuff are freaking nuts. And they probably, and there is a mental health feature of it.
Yeah, it's a feature, not a bug. Hey, asshat, then take all those red flag moments that they should have acted on and present a bill that tightens those things up. So if you have if you are taken in for a mental health issue and you're not involuntarily committed, but you are taken into I think the Buffalo shooter was taken into a mental hospital for a time, and he went willingly because he was threatening people. That you shouldn't have to be involuntarily committed for any amount of time if that's the issue. If the idea is that they think, well, he might be just talking and it might be a big deal. But tell you what, we're putting a pause on you being able to buy a gun for 5 years. So you might be turning 18 next year, but you're not going to be able to and you can go to court if you're sane, and you can make a case that you should have the right to, and a judge can rule on that. But a 5-year pause on you being able to buy a weapon. How about that?
But look, I want to get to the point you made initially about the shortage of food.
Yeah, baby formula, which is why aren't we putting poisonous baby formula into the system? They can sure, the baby formula would have chronobacter and salmonella in it, but at least it would be there. Who doesn't want to play Russian roulette with their kid with every other can of baby formula possibly killing them? I mean, honestly.
This is a major issue that not a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah, totally. Let's hear it.
I have a podcast called Firebrand.
Oh my God. We sell prepper food on there.
You folks can go back and check out the episode I did with Shannon Nixon of Nixon Farms.
Nixon Farms.
Right here in Northwest Florida.
I am not a pork supplier. All right.
And here is the synopsis.
Great. Thanks, because I'm not going to watch it. So please, high and tight synopsi.
There is a war on the American farmer that is going on right now. And it is...
No, there is not. There is not a war on the American farmer.
Coming from radical environmentalism. It is coming from being very short-sighted about some of these tariffs and
what tariffs? You mean the Trump tariffs, fucko?
Sanctions and how they hurt our ability to...
Oh, Russian sanctions. I'm sorry. How does putting a sanction on Russian wheat affect these farmers? Other than, I mean, what he's really talking about is fertilizer. I guarantee it.
Be able to get what we need to have effective agriculture.
And by the way, within 2 years, there's enough of this potash that's needed to make this fertilizer that we get from Russia in Michigan. Michigan could have been producing this all along, but it's been cheap getting it from Russia, so that's where companies get it. There was no reason to even explore getting it anywhere in the United States, just like lithium in the Salton Sea, because it was cheap and readily available overseas. The cost of digging it up somewhere else, processing it there, and bringing it over here was lower than looking for it over here and then having it. That's no longer the case. And you can argue between COVID, supply chains being tied to China and Russia, it never was economically feasible. We're just paying the piper now. All of these things will be available in the next couple of years. It's silly.
The supply chain issues, just, the ability that when you can't...
Yeah, like there's a thing, like I heard supply and chain.
Get a part for weeks, you can miss a planting season, or you can be far less efficient in a harvest.
Yeah, how is that fucking anybody's fault? That's a response to COVID, and you're talking about parts coming from China.
That is a huge thing.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. So fucking what? If you don't have a solution, shut up.
Not a lot of people are talking.
Yeah. The reason not a lot of people around Matt are talking about it is because they, A, have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, and they have no solutions for a problem they can't even agree is a problem.
If your question is, what are we doing about it? The answer is not enough.
Not anything. All right.
In Congress, I'm having to get reports about governments that might fall in Africa and South America because of food shortage. And I think about what the impact's going to be for fellow Americans. So
For fellow Americans? Yes, because of nations falling in Africa because they're not getting wheat from Ukraine and Russia. Honestly. For fuck's sake. Is he just suggesting things just to show how few solutions he has? At this point, I am convinced that he's just bringing up new and different topics to show that it is possible for a single person sitting in Congress to be completely useless on all issues. No, he doesn't care about Africa, Caitlin.
We need to see that this is a major, major problem. And now, this administration is not reinforcing the supply chain and the ability to have a balance.
Oh my God, the idiot! I'm enjoying this. The not reinforcing the supply chain that doesn't exist because we're not going to be getting grain from Russia anymore, and we can't get it from Ukraine while Russia is trying to murder everyone there and create wipe out the Ukrainian identity from the earth. But hey, if the Nazis are selling wheat cheap, who doesn't like a toasty grilled cheese in the middle of the day made out of bread that was financed by murdering an entire civilization? You know what I mean? It just feels extra. It's comfort food for a specific kind of person, Matt.
In America of what we need to be prosperous, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Jesus Christ. It's a very important issue. I'm glad you brought it up. I have no idea what the fuck I just said.
Very serious issue. I'll give you the last word.
You have to.
Yeah, that was just the only thing I just wanted to know. It's like, we can try to stockpile as much as we want, but I've got friends and family and grandchildren I'm concerned about. And I just want to know.
They're not in Africa, are they? because I think Matt, he'll only pretend to care for a couple of seconds if they're in Africa. The rest of the time, it's like a 98.2% rule.
Somebody's going to do about the southern border, because we won't even be able to feed our own people, let alone the rest of the world.
Fuck off.
And I know, Matt, that you are busting your butt.
No, he isn't.
You know, and
He's busting a nut, apparently, on a fairly regular
trying
basis.
to help, but we need more Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, we need more Matt Gaetz out there, because we can't have just one. I mean, who's going to roofie these girls? These 17-year-olds aren't going to dose themselves.
We need more Marjories. I mean, it's frustrating. I told you in person before, we can't last very much longer.
Well, I appreciate you. We're
What the fuck do you mean we can't last much longer?
fighting for you, and you know what? It's a great country. It's still worth fighting for with all we got, and
No, that woman is not voting this fall.
it's not like these are unsolvable problems.
I don't even know that it is a problem. And you can't have a solution that won't work if I don't have any solutions.
You know, you made a point at the beginning of your question about how America was focused on productivity and success for our people when
Yeah, there was a whole PR campaign about it. Nothing happened. It was infrastructure week, the whole fucking Trump presidency. Now we have an infrastructure bill, and it's a mocking point.
Donald Trump was president.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for participating. If you're watching us live, leave us a comment. Getter, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube. Here we got
That's the good thing about the right. They are spread so fucking thin these days.
at Black Guns 2049 on.
Totally a real account. What was the name of it?
Watching us live, leave us a comment. Getter, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube.
Humper.
Here we got a
Badger.
At Black Guns 2049 on Getter. Says school boards are more focused on pushing critical race theory than security. It's quite the observation. Here's what I would say.
They were too woke to not get broke. You know what I'm saying?
Focusing on security makes a huge difference. I know that our prior caller said, look, these schools are vulnerable no matter what we do. I can tell you,
These are Texas schools, fucko.
as someone who, goes on campus quite a bit, man,
Oh no. Oh no. You don't get to you Matt Gaetz don't get to say that about schools.
huge difference. I know that our prior caller said, look, these schools are vulnerable no matter what we do. I can tell you, as someone who, goes on campus quite a bit,
Uh-huh.
and increasingly you got to show that ID. You got to get through
Yeah, it's a bummer, bruh. Like, I have to get like a new fake ID every fucking time I go, bruh.
buzzed through reinforced door.
Yeah, like try to get into the girls' locker room, man. It's like you have to have like a laminate.
And
Because my buddy Joel used to make the best IDs, bruh. Seriously, bruh.
very helpful. Now, Jeannie raised the issue
Fuck me. I mean, honestly.
of our southern border, and this is something that we've got to talk about. You hear about Title 42 on the news. Now, Title 42 was a Trump-era public health authority.
No, they used it during Trump because he let a pandemic run wild in the United States and lag behind it. It existed before. He didn't make it up.
Due to the pandemic, we had the authority to return people immediately and not have them waiting in our country, distributed throughout our country, potentially spreading disease. You are not having full testing. You are not having full, accountability over this virus, or frankly,
Accountability?
anything else at the southern border.
Yeah, but, I mean, you guys got plenty of horse paste. Just get yourself a meat thermometer and sit on it. Just fill it up with ivermectin and just...
And so you've seen in the news a judge has told the Biden administration that they cannot repeal Title 42. Do not take that as something of
There's a weird delay happening on their video right now.
comfort. Here's why. All the reports that we are getting from the border
Monkeypox. It's all monkeypox. It's Planet of the Apes.
tell us that they have functionally gotten rid of Title 42 already. That the people that are managing these critical sectors and vectors on the border
Sectors and vectors? What's the vector, Victor?
are already trying to get ahead of the wave that they know is coming with Title 42 going away, and they're just letting them in. It is like a total turnstile on the southern border. Even if you saw the report about how ISIS was...
Hold on. By the way, so Abbott in Texas with his Operation Lone Star, the CPB, which has laws they have to follow, for Title 42 is part of that, they're just blowing it off. Which would be, for the CPB, ICE, and Customs and Border Patrol, like professionals all the way across, would be illegal. The processing place, they've already reached the processing part. And what he's talking about, where they've just blown off, is women and children, because their health would be in more danger, and they all test negative. But by the time they're fucking moved, it's just dumb.
Planning a potential assassination of former President George W. Bush. They were viewing our southern border as the principal vulnerability to get terrorists, murderers, assassins into our country. A horrible,
And then the Obama administration came along, and they were rejecting everybody.
horrible thing. I think I know where everybody's going to be on this issue, but I want to get your perspective, because frankly, I like telling the other members of Congress what my constituents are saying. If you think we ought to keep Title 42 in place, which allows us to deport people, press 1 now. If you think we should...
Again, this makes them feel like they're voting. That's what this bullshit is about. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines. Like, I don't need to do the other half hour of this, because it's just like this is how this whole thing. Yeah, and if you guys think Matt Gaetz is not wearing pants right now, press 1. If you think that Matt Gaetz rooted against Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, press 2. If you think that Big Boy Burgers should sue him to get their head back, press 3. Oh, it's nice it's showing up in the chat. I was kidding, but that's great. All right, hold on. You're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. It's a later show than normal because I'm in LA. I'm doing the Ultimate Jam tonight at the Whiskey. We're doing the theme tonight is Britain Rocks, so I'm going to be doing some British bands. It's going to be a good time. Be a great collection of cool songs, and I'm very excited. I'll be opening the show, hosting it, and closing it, and it's going to be a good time. And then, after I'm all done, because I love you guys, I'm going to get in my car right after the show and drive back to Vegas so I can do my morning show back home completely exhausted. Because I'm tired anyway, so what difference does it make? Don't worry about safety. If I get tired, excuse me, if I get tired, I will pull over and take a nap, as I have often done. And everything will be cool. So don't worry about it. Super fun. All right. So there is... I want to do this piece. It's 11 minutes long. I think I have time. Yeah. And then I got to get cleaned up and ready to go. Oh, look, I'm all shrunk on this page. There we go. Move myself up there. Hi. There we go. For all the above, right? Habla español. Marque número 2. All right. I will, Stargal. Fear not. You can get a gun and defend yourself from being tired. Yeah, I have an open carry against... you like Scruffy Hal? Oh, thanks. Very few people do. Thank you, Eric, for the super chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show in any way that you can. Or don't if it makes you feel pressured at all. Serious. Be careful where you pull over to nap. I always do. Yeah. You follow me on Troth Central? Awesome. Oh, and carry fruit guns. I have some non-lethal and lethal protections. Don't worry. All right, Eric, thank you so much for that. This might be one of the most like snapping ironies that this dickhead has ever gone through. Like right now, he's obviously, this is, if you're not familiar, this is Russell Brand doing his impersonation of a hippie highlighter. So it's a highlighter used by people at Jonestown. I don't know why the bright yellow thing. I'm sure it's something to do with, like, he read, like, you wear a sun-like color, a very bright yellow on top of your crown chakra to help you connect. I showed, hold on, let me see if I could show this before, because this was fun to find this. Because I tweeted this thing out earlier. Yeah, where is it? He's projecting. It's all true. Okay. There you go. So, I like, this is fucked up. So, in the same feed, because of the stuff that I want, this came up. I mean, for fuck's sake. They're sacrificing your babies. Due to limited supply, we are limiting the purchase of baby formula to 3 per transaction. That's at Walgreens. Abbott, and then this baby, like, they're crossing it out, and your babies can't have it. I might have to look into this one tomorrow, because fucking hell, I have not watched this. But look at that thumbnail. Look at that thumbnail. And then look at this thumbnail. This is from his other channel, Awakening with Russell. What a... And by the way, it shouldn't be lost to anybody. This one, How to Free Yourself from Social Anxiety, that's a 10-minute clip. You're only going to get 10 minutes of class there. This is 15 minutes. You get an extra 5 minutes of anxiety and fear. And it only takes you 10 minutes to wash it off. Fucking hell. That this kind of bullshit would come from the same goddamn channel is grotesque. Meanwhile, he's interviewing Tim Pool. I think this comes from his podcast. It's like he does this occasionally. He takes a section of the podcast and releases it as a clip to try and bait you into watching the podcast and signing up for shit. And it's Tim Pool. This is psychological warfare.
Fake accounts, misinformation, fake news, troll farms. Is social media being used to generate a disorienting reality that leaves us all baffled? Is it?
Was that side look and awareness, you think, on Russell's part, that he's got a shit ton of bots following him and a lot of his talking points that he's being audience captured and pushed into saying all largely come from his direction from these bot farms?
Hello there, you 5.6 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me on this voyage into the light. Together we
into the light. You're sitting in front of a window, fuckhead.
shall awaken if we learn to discern the truth from the fiction. If we learn to become authentic within ourselves.
Yeah, you missed that bus. There'll be another one along any minute.
We learn to treat one another with respect and dignity.
Yeah, that's... Fucko, that's not what this is. This is not... Posting something like this is not treating people with respect and dignity. This is fear farming. This is exactly what, from the title of this, I would read, he's warning people against. But let's see.
Regardless of whether or not we agree with each other on sometimes quite fundamental issues. If you've not subscribed yet...
That was an edit.
Subscribe right now. And remember to comment on this video and give us a thumbs up, because it really...
Nah. But like and subscribe and thumbs up mine and leave a comment later. If you're a Russell Brand fan, explain yourself. I don't get it. It's gross. Like, if you're going to be misinformed by an asshole on purpose, there's a lot of better ones out there. I'm just saying. Sharper, more interesting.
helps us, particularly if you're a real person and not a bot.
Yeah, because most of his followers are bots.
Today we're talking about troll farms, fake accounts. Did you know that 11% of the accounts commenting on the John...
Look at this shit. Wait, what was that edit?
Troll farms, fake accounts. Did you know that 11% of the accounts commenting on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial were fake? Did you know that
Yeah, and? How many of yours, fucko?
19 of the 20 top Christian sites that were commentating on Trump and American cultural issues were traced to bot farms in Eastern Europe?
Yes, I do.
How can we
Is his necklace taped to his shirt? I don't think it's a necklace. I think it's part of the shirt. I think it's actually, like, he's wearing like another $800 shirt.
reality? How can we trust the opinions we're formed?
Oh no, they did tape it because it was making noise on his microphone.
Around our culture.
Honestly.
If we're being bombarded and drugged and intoxicated with fake information and misinformation, is the real source of misinformation?
By the way, he was just telling us a couple of videos ago that disinformation and misinformation are just weaponized terms to make people be afraid of looking at the truth.
Not individual human beings like you and me, but a concerted effort to disorientate us.
Right. Talk to me when you're not trapped by your fucking audience, which is mostly fake.
I spoke to YouTuber Tim Paul about this issue and many others on my podcast Under the Skin, available from Luminary. In this conversation, we talk about
Luminary.
different forms of warfare. How
Oh, nice.
isn't now
Thanks,
just
Coffee is super.
military or chemical, but is actually psychological. That we're in a war right now. Unless we start to decentralize political power.
What the fuck? Decentralized political power. Also, that's a hell of a freeze frame. Decentralized political power? The fuck does that have to do with Macedonian troll farms paid for by the Russians or Chinese troll farms on TikTok, for fuck's sake?
Doomed to live in a state of spellbound hypnosis and
Jesus Christ, look at the edits.
orientation. Have a look at this conversation. Please stay to the very end because Tim Paul is illuminating as always. Tim Paul.
Uh-huh.
Another one of the brilliant people on YouTube that I don't always agree with, and I'm sure, obviously by default, he doesn't always agree with me, but in conversation, perhaps
Well, he might not have a while back, but he totally does now, because that's the way you've gone.
we can find mutual truths together. Stay to the end and comment and let me know what you think.
Stay to the end. Make sure you click and write something so that it kicks my algorithm up, because even if you're a fucking bot, it helps me with the algorithm, and that's how I've gotten 5.6 million subscribers in a short period of time.
Conversation.
That and buying half of them.
Do you
Sorry. Do you is everybody in? Is everybody in? By the way, Tim's Snapchat filter looking banging. I don't think anybody should have any lines or depth around their eyeballs. I think that's completely natural.
then
I think most people's eyeballs are at the same depth point as the bridge of their nose.
in terms of any kind of political fulfillment, and by that I mean
Fucking high.
the ability to live in a community that's representative of your values and to express yourself as an individual as you want to, that you would have to some degree, separate yourself and your community from these centralized structures. And if
Centralized structures. What the fuck? Asshole lives in a monarchy. We do have decentralized power, dum-dum. Why do you think we are having an issue with Roe v. Wade? Because the Supreme Court is not ruled over by the administration or by the House and Senate.
as you seem to be suggesting, because you talked about sort of a co-op, you sort of at least used that phrase, and
Yeah, that's what he wants. That's Tim runs his show like a co-op.
And does that indicate that perhaps the future for politics is beyond these centralization models? And are you
Yeah, dude, it's totally, bro, it's anarchy, but like, and it's anarchy as an app.
talk to people that say, look, what difference does it make, this theater of
Yeah, it's the same. Democrats, Republicans, they're the same. I mean, if Democrats was given enough time, they would get rid of Roe v. Wade and make people, women have to resort back to stuffing coat hangers up inside themselves. But it's two legs in the same pair of pants.
Bipartisan theatre. Shouldn't we evolve beyond these models that were kind of created hundreds of years ago when representative democracy was more relevant?
I'm worried that we're drifting into hyperpartisanship. I think decentralization is always the way to go. There's got to be some central kind of agreement, maybe overarching constitution, perhaps is the way to put it, where we're like,
Yeah, we have one of those. He doesn't have one of those, and he's nodding off because he doesn't give a shit, Tim, and because he lives in a monarchy.
okay, so these are the rules we're going to use to engage with each other, but we disagree. So I think that's why the U.S. is actually great. The states, the cities, the localities, they each have their own implementation, their own version. But
Yeah, you're not going to win any points with Russell on this one, Tim.
it's hyper-centralizing. And the problem is, you can look at it with media. The more we lose local media in the United States because they can't sustain themselves in this new attention economy. We see the rise of the New York Times building a massive subscription platform. We see the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. And then what happens is, for the average American, they're hearing about national issues and less local issues. Now, for one, this can breed corruption at a local level, which the local level is where it's at. The federal...
Look at Russell like, yeah, that's totally how it operates. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I agree, softball. The U.S. is great.
is often, in my opinion, a distraction for...
Oh, hold on one second. I don't know why this is choppy all of a sudden. I feel like I'm using way too much. I'm not using all my CPU, so hold on, I'm gonna jump back to here. Look at that. That was very choppy. Hopefully it'll smooth out a bit. I don't know. Hold on. Maybe it's... I'm gonna close some windows. See if that... I think it's trying to reset some of these things that might see that? Yeah, it's I don't know why. Beg your pardon. It just got all choppy. It's a little better, but we'll see. Hold on.
Reasons.
Wait.
But then you end up with corruption at the local level. You end up with people disassociated from their own communities. And then you end up with hyperpolarization and centralization. So the fear I have with this is, you know, you take a look at when Joe Biden came out a few months ago and said that we may need to have more lockdowns, more restrictions. This was at a time when Texas and Florida had been releasing their lockdowns. They've been easing the restrictions and mask mandates and all that stuff. And so when Joe Biden comes out and he speaks, saying those things, he's clearly not talking to red states. And so now you already have a situation where over the past year, many, I think...
First of all, yes, he was. And that was just preparing people if Omicron had reached a Delta level. Like if we were seeing deaths along the lines, and he was right, by the way, about Delta. That was early last year. And he was right. Delta showed up, and we did have to have more lockdowns because Delta was dangerous. Once Omicron came through, that wasn't the case. Fucking hell. It's just adult shit. It's like Biden comes out after a tornado and says, okay, we've had 3 tornadoes. There's a chance, the weather people are telling me there could be another tornado in the next 2 days. It's not 100%, but it's very possible. And this asshole's like, well, obviously he's not talking about talking to the states that don't have tornadoes.
Like half of Republicans don't view Joe Biden as legitimate. Like a third think that he didn't even win the election. And so these people...
Russell's one of those people.
...are already feeling like they're not a part of the system. When the president comes out and speaks in a way that very much so speaks to only one side of the country, the centralization is giving way to...
Or half the country intentionally stuff shit in their ears because they hate him just for existing. That is not Biden being partisan. Sorry. Sick of that shit. Obama was not divisive because he was black. If racists had a problem with him, that is not Obama's responsibility. If maggots decide that they're not going to get vaccinated in the name of Trump, who's even telling them, I know Russell's already dozed off, who's telling them, like, don't do it, you know, or he's saying, Trump is actually saying, get vaccinated, and they're like, they're not going to, they're booing him. So when Biden comes out and goes, there might be another lockdown and stuff, that's not him only talking to half the fucking country. Where is the part of individual responsibility in this situation? Why is it Biden's responsibility that the people who charged up the steps on January 6th, who are now moving on to we're a federalist system, we're not a democracy, fuck democracy, the EC is way more important, and if we want to recreate a system of voting controls state to state just to guarantee that our guy wins. How is that Biden's fault? Yes, and Russell is definitely stoned, and we're losing him.
A splitting down the middle of some sort. I don't know ultimately what it would look like, but that's what happens when you go from decentralized communities with a weak central structure where they can communicate to centralizing everything and then factionalizing. I think the whole system is going to implode on itself.
What do you think? We invented the federal system in the last couple of decades? The gripe he has goes back to suffrage and the civil rights movement. That these two leaps were too fast, and they were shocks to the system instead of happening organically over time, and the people on the receiving end of not having their rights honored should have just sucked it up for a couple more decades, because the maggots of the world back then should have been given more time to come around and not be bigots anymore, instead of just codify their stranglehold on things.
And I think it's a lot to do with the internet. I think it has a lot to do with social media and the attention economy.
Yes, Russell's signaling his producer.
I don't know what the solutions are, to be honest. You know, people have a right to free speech.
I would argue TikTok is malware. It's half owned by the Chinese government, and TikTok is responsible for giving your private information to the Chinese government. That's the law over there. You're welcome. Get off of TikTok. If you're on TikTok, stop doing TikTok.
You used to say more. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura, for bringing me tea. I'm talking and listening, Laura. Yeah. Maybe some chamomile. I need to be more laid back right now.
Just to say more frequently, at least as far as I'm aware, that you felt that, I guess in the final days of Trump, that America was on the brink of some kind of civil war.
I still do.
Do you?
Do you?
Yeah, but there's been polling data that I think may, evolve that opinion. Notably, there was YouGov data that I think it was YouGov, that there's 5 regions in the United States. There's the northeastern, there's the southern, there's the heartland, there's the west and the mountain regions. And in each
we call them time zones.
Region, there was a large plurality of people who wanted to secede from the union and form their own regional governments, essentially. If you normalize for population by each state, I did the math, you end up with 37.2% of the U.S. population wanting the country to break apart.
Yeah, but they the mountain regions and the West, especially like California, Oregon, and Seattle, want to break apart from fucking Texas and Louisiana for different reasons. The majority of these 37% is kick Texas out. Fuck Florida. It's not the same thing. Oh my God.
That's massive, because opposition to a balkanization.
By the way, these are the same people who believe the Earth is 4,000 years old. You know what that does? Now that affects them driving to work and showing up for work and following the law and going to court when they have to? It does nothing.
The United States is
polling on those levels is in a fantasy world. If you could build a utopia out of just Seattle and San Francisco, New York, and Chicago, would you? 37% go sure.
It's in the third range. So you have about a third of people who are like, I don't care. You have about a little bit over a third saying, shut her down. And you have about a third saying, no, keep it as it is. And so when it comes to the yes or no vote.
By the way, the third that says, I don't care, that's a stupid question. Not, I don't know. If we broke apart, who gives a shit? If we don't, who cares?
The people who abstain, and then you'll get, what, 50-50? So... I don't exactly know what it would look like, though. I think people have this misconception.
Yeah. You're sniffing your own farts. This is goofy.
About what civil war really means. And they also don't take into account that we're in what's referred to as 4th and 5th generational era of warfare. We don't necessarily use kinetic force to win wars. We use psychological
Look at this. Look at Russell pretending to know what the fuck he's talking about.
operations, propaganda, manipulation. And so,
Yes. He's talking about you, Russell.
depending on how you want to define it, look, we had a guy get shot in the chest by an anti-fascist after a Trump rally in Portland. We just had a shootout in Portland just a couple days ago. It may, the kinetic aspect of any kind of civil conflict may keep itself constrained to these
Dipshits doing dust-ups in the street like gang warfare or shit in the 90s. Would be the United States of Crips versus the United States of Bloods.
and right skirmishes in various cities. But it simmered down a little bit. We're in kind of a lull year because politics, we just got off a presidential election. But I mean, you look now with the
Oh, for fuck's sake. Is that Laura?
cyber symposium, and I see a cat.
Yeah.
And we have the audits in Arizona. I just talked with Steve Bannon
No, we don't.
the other day, and he's talking about audits in Georgia and Wisconsin and Michigan and all these states. This is persistent. These people aren't backing down. They don't view Biden as the real president.
So what? We went through Jonestown, too. We went through Some Young Moon. Dude, federal officers had to walk a black girl into school in the 60s. We've been through shit like this before.
And so if you have that rising sentiment,
We don't have that rising sentiment.
I'm not saying that we're going to see, one thing Bill Maher said was that there couldn't be a civil war because the
Oh, hold on. Let me. What did Bill Maher say? I can't wait.
Mason-Dixon line would go through Grandma's kitchen, a reference to the line that divided the North and the South. But I think that's Americans have this issue where we view conflict or circumstances or concepts through an American lens. They don't seem to understand.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You're interrupting Russell's moment of prayer. You said American lens, and he has to do a mantra that reminds him that he's British again.
That the world exists, and the Spanish Civil War, for instance, the Russian Revolution. You take a look at what happened in the U.S. with state versus state, North versus South, and it's very unique to the United States based on its structure, this massive.
It's also unique to the transatlantic slave trade, which we fought a war to end. Other countries didn't. The Brits outlawed it. We fought a war over it. And then the U.S. and the Brits and the French, and to some degree the Spanish, spent the rest of the decades afterwards policing the seas.
Of different jurisdictions. But you take a look at the Spanish Civil War and you can see pockets erupting of different factions declaring different regions. So again, when I say Civil War, it's I don't know.
When I say Civil War, it's really just for clickbait. I say it because a certain number of my audience, who are largely bots, from China and Russia, want us to have a civil war. So
I tried to veer away a little bit from saying Civil War simply because I think people don't understand it.
Yeah, most people don't understand. I mean, I understood it. I think largely Civil War happened in the Marvel Universe because they had all these superstars in the movie and they wanted to use all of them, and hiring a bunch of villains to, having like 12 main heroes fighting, before Thanos shows up, no, that's not what
I assume I'm saying that California is going to declare war on Texas or something, which I don't mean that. But you could see different factions popping.
But I want to infer that that's a possibility just to keep Russell awake.
Ultimately, you could see factions forming allegiances or alliances with each other. And, ultimately, I think when people are already ready to kill each other, are already wishing for the death of each other on social media, I think we're going to go into a psychological conflict. That's what fifth generational.
It's a psychic war.
Is a reference to manipulating someone online through using fake accounts to convince them that a certain idea is popular. Fourth generational warfare is more.
Did you see when he said fake accounts, Russell got kind of nervous there for a second? Watch this for a second. Might just be me, but hold on. Watch when he says fake accounts.
To convince them that a certain idea is popular.
Fourth generation. Back up.
Using fake accounts.
Yeah, it's mostly, you know, it's a dildo, glow-in-the-dark dildo fight that looks a bit like a Star Wars porn.
etc. I'm looking at Twitter, man, and I'm...
Yeah, I mean, Twitter is America. America is Twitter. What happens on there happens here. I mean, if I'm in the middle of a flame war with somebody on Twitter, you got to know I'm screaming at gas station attendants, people at restaurants, strangers. It absolutely one-to-one translates.
Seeing people celebrate death, wish for death. Overtly, these are verified blue check mark high profile accounts gloating and wishing for death. And that's
not this one, motherfucker. I would like to say, for the record, that the one area where I feel that I am vindicated and completely consistent and nobody can push back on is that I do not wish physical harm on anyone unless it is my responsibility and it is an acute situation. But never, ever, ever. I'm not going to wish somebody to get COVID even. I have no interest. I would rather argue the politics than ever wish ill on somebody because I know better. And I do not encourage it in my crowd. You guys know that, and I will stick to that.
You know, been escalating. So I'll put it...
And so none of my people are going to do that. Whereas TYT cannot say the same thing. Tim Pool is probably sensitive to this because he got swatted a couple of times. I don't know if you know this. But somebody called the police and swatted his house, meaning they told them that there was somebody there with a gun or that there was somebody, firing a gun or had just killed somebody, blah, 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 so that the cops would actually, raid the place.
So I'll put it in simple terms. In 2018, we saw...
In deference to Russell, you have to put it in simple terms.
Proud Boys, Antifa, right-wing, left-wing groups clashing. And it was some of the most violent conflict I'd ever seen,
Outside of, obviously you haven't seen The Norseman.
So I'm not that old, I'm 35, but I had been...
In 35 years, not since... In the majority of the 2000s, that was the most clashes you've seen?
By Wall Street, I had seen, anarchist, Antifa, and stuff like that. I saw people throwing M80s at old women.
Not M80s, at old women. Who? They didn't yell "knee" at her, did you? Who are you to say "knee" to old ladies at will? Throwing M80s at old ladies. Yeah, those people are called rednecks.
I saw improvised explosive devices. I wouldn't rate as too dangerous, but...
No, just improvised explosive devices. So they duct taped two M80s together because there was a couple of old ladies walking hand in hand.
Dangerous. Mortar shells being thrown. This was 2018.
Mortar shells being thrown. Just the shells. They were empty. They were just giant casings.
And so that's when I started saying, if this continues to escalate...
By the way, he means, but there were no mortars fired during the fucking George Floyd protests. What the fuck? Portland, there have been no mortars fired in Portland that I'm aware of.
Because we've already seen the culture war bubbling up since Gamergate 2013. If this continues, we're at the level of kinetic skirmishes,
Skirmishes, yeah. And that's what most people are afraid of right now, is the civil skirmish. Yeah. Yeah, and then Biden will be forced to make a speech at Gettysburg-ish.
Violence. Then I don't see why people will back down when they're being threatened this way and the police aren't intervening.
Yeah, if somebody chucks an M80 at you and you are either too old to deflect it or you just don't have a badminton racket on you, and the worst is, I mean, these old ladies were walking home. They were, all they were looking for was some soup, I think. You know what I mean? And these are like soup bag skirmishes. That's right. It's terrible. It's frightening. It's
They're going to get angrier. They're going to spread more media. They're going to challenge each other more so, and the violence will continue to.
They're going to spread more media. It was terrible. Were you present in Portland at the Great Post-it Noting? What? Yeah, someone attacked everyone with Post-it notes. They were running around with Post-it notes that said boom on them. It was basically like a bomb going off. And they would just stick one on you. And then the Portland rules were that you had to act like you'd been blown up for 20 minutes until somebody came over and tagged you. Fucking media.
So I've had a few people challenge me on the notion, saying that I was completely wrong to imply that there could ever be a civil war in the United States. And this is back, 2018, 2019, 2020.
Well, we had one. It's not wrong to imply that there could be one. You're just wrong that there will be one.
I'll say that
it was improvised Post-it note device.
I first bring this up because there was an article, I believe it was in The Atlantic, where they said that they polled a dozen or so.
And by the way, I love when these fuckers will rally against the fucking mainstream media is the problem. All it is lies and propaganda and stuff. You know what they said in The Atlantic? It was really fascinating. I was reading this article the other day in The Atlantic.
A large number of national security experts who said that they felt the second civil war in the United States was probable, ranging from some estimates of 30%, some saying 90%.
You mean there's a diversity of thought in a democracy? How very strange.
An article like that.
Uh-huh. What? You said what now?
That conversation with Tim Pool shows just how advanced psychological warfare is, and
psychological? It's psychological, but first of all, he's dozing off. Secondly, it didn't say anything of the sort. This is gibberish.
I think that conversation with Tim Pool shows just how advanced psychological warfare is and just how terrifying a spectacle it could become.
How terrifying a spectacle it could become. Ah, this is fucking... What a tiresome pile of shit. And the title of this is psychological warfare. Motherfucker, he's talking, Tim Pool, whatever you think about him, and he's one of these guys who gets shit from both sides because he's definitely I don't know if you'd call him pro-Trump, but he's one of these guys where we need a Trump. That's his belief system. There's a bunch of those assholes. Tim Pool seems to be one of those guys. Yeah, terrifying receptacle. But when he's talking about this, manipulative accounts, lying to the American people, creating more divisions, and that division is getting increasingly worse because of fake accounts, he means Russell. And Russell's too fucking stupid to understand he's being called out. And Tim's too much of a wuss to be direct about it. Good Lord. All right, I'm going to... Hold on. What's the end?
You thought of the conversation in the...
No, I'm not going to. If I can. Don't forget, you can see me live.
Remember to subscribe to my channel.
No, I'm not going to subscribe to the channel.
Only 60% if you do. I'd love...
Yeah, only 60%, allegedly. Yeah, the bots do.
If you all subscribe, remember to give us a thumbs up if you feel so...
Yeah, a thumbs up. That sounds painful.
If you enjoyed this video, watch either one of these two or both of them. They're both fantastic videos.
No, they're not.
Please subscribe to my mailing list.
Authoritarianism is all they know. Tim Pool on, what, Armageddon? And this is a fucking disgrace. Families being tracked by the CDC. This, oh God, so gross. And he's mad in both pictures. They just try to find a picture where he looks like he's desperately screaming to, at someone to get down.
I'll give you a weekly bulletin. I'll tell you all the live stuff that I'm up to. I'm always...
The life stuff. Brooming your cat off the desk while Laura gets you another cup of tea.
Doing live things online and in physical reality too. It's really important that you sign up to that in case I'm ever...
No, I'm not going to do that. I have no interest.
On this platform.
It's boring, actually. I'm just saying, it's terrible.
More than any of that, though, is that you please stay free.
Stay free. Oh my God. Stay puffed, you asshole. All right. It's a little choppy, and I'm not quite sure why. I might need to up... encoding overloaded, consider... What? Drop frames? No. But, all right. I will try and fix this, but I'll be back home tomorrow, so I'm going to sign off now. Sorry, I'm choppy. It just got that way. I gotta go work on my songs here in the studio. Run through them a couple of times, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show in any way you can. If you feel that way. If you don't, or if you're a bot, then don't worry about it. I don't want any bots. I'm just saying, for the record. I don't need any help in that area. I would rather have legitimate people having a legitimate conversation. Anyways, big love to you guys, and we will talk tomorrow. Have a good night.